Alrighty, everybody, this is going to be your daily dose of the Trump. The update in day 13 of the Trump trial in the Soros-funded Alvin Bragg persecution out of New York with the totally not corrupt Judge Juan Marchand. The prosecution's star witness today, one of two star witnesses, Stormy Daniels, the confirmed liar, porn star. Not that that would make a person inherently untrustworthy. She's just a liar on her own volition. She testified today, and some people might want to describe this as a case of one screen, two films. But the only people who are seeing this as anything other than disastrous for the prosecution are watching this film with their hands over their eyes and their fingers in their ears. I don't know how you do that when you only have two fingers. I guess you can do something like that. It's not one screen, two films. It's an abject disaster. And it's an unfair disaster. I mean, they're scoring some points in the sense that the only purpose of Stormy Daniels testifying for the prosecution was to get in as much Jerry Springer disgusting, nasty dirt as humanly possible, lawful or unlawful, on Donald Trump. And she succeeded in doing that. Talking about disgusting, sordid details of her alleged sexual encounter with Donald Trump. It was embarrassing. It would be humiliating. That's what it's intended to be. Some of it is absolutely irrelevant. And the only reason to allow it is to stain. It's basically to ruin Trump's reputation before this jury, throw in as much dirt as humanly possible, hope some of it sticks so they find him guilty on unrelated charges to the substance of the testimony. I'm going to read through some of the tweets from Inner City Press, Matthew Russell Lee, because he's been doing work that very few other people have the access to do. And even those who have the access to do it are incapable of doing what Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, is doing, live tweeting a trial that is not being broadcast to the general public. Sure, it's the most important trial in the history of America. The very first criminal prosecution of a former president, potential future president, leading presidential candidate in an election cycle. They don't want to broadcast it, they don't want to stream it, but they're going to allow it to be public insofar as people will be allowed in there live tweeting what's going on in the trial, as if that could possibly translate sufficiently or as efficiently as live video. Regardless, I'm going to read through some of the tweets and commentate on my highlights of the day, takeaways from Inner City Press's live tweeting. So we start with some objections after the all-rise clerk. This is the people of the state of New York versus Donald J. Trump, Justice Marchand. Anything we need to discuss? Trump's lawyer, Nichols, that's how you pronounce it. We are informed that Stormy Daniels is the second witness today. We oppose any details of sexual acts. Justice Marchand, other than just, we had sex? Prosecutor, Your Honor, only limited details as to Karen McDougal, not Stormy Daniels. The details are important. The sex act, only certain details are unnecessary. We got into details, and I would argue very unnecessary details, but they might be embarrassing, which is exactly why they were allowed in. Prosecutor Susan Hoffinger will get into the conversation they had in the hotel and how the sexual act came about, how she felt about it. We will not get into genitalia. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, there is no need for this. This is a case about books and records. Justice Marchand, this woman has credibility issues, so details are important. I will allow them. Call your witness. Oh, the jury, bring the jury in first. Now, I am no mathematician, logician, but I did get an honors degree in philosophy with a very good grade in Logic 101. That is absolutely illogical what the judge just said. We have a witness who has credibility issues, so we're going to allow her to testify on potentially wholly unnecessary details. How in the name of sweet holy hell does that relate to her credibility issues to allow her to testify on more than she should, because it's arguably irrelevant, totally unnecessary, and objectively meant only to defame Donald Trump? Spoiler, it doesn't make any sense because Judge Marchand is a corrupt hack of a judge whose daughter is raking in millions of dollars, hands over fist, with this very prosecution, raising money for Adam Schiff, other Democrat political action committees, a person who worked on Kamala Harris's 2020 campaign. That's who the judge is. That's who his daughter is. That's why he's allowing in this rubbish. Then we get to Stormy's testimony in chief. Prosecutor, what did you discuss? Stormy Daniels, I told him where I grew up. Do I have siblings? I do not. Did I have a boyfriend? No, at the time. Prosecutor, did you tell him about your hard childhood? Daniels, yes. DL, objection, sustained, stricken. Stormy Daniels, so he asked about the adult film industry, whether we have unions, get residuals, usually people asking about the sexy stuff. Prosecutor, did he ask if you'd ever been tested? Daniels, yes. Wicked is a condom mandatory company. I'm allergic to latex. Here you have Stormy Daniels testifying about one of her earlier encounters with Donald Trump, and she's telling him she's allergic to latex, and he asked her if she's been tested because the porn company that she works for is condom mandatory, but she can't use condoms because she's allergic to latex. Yes, we're going to believe that Donald Trump, a man who is arguably, but not arguably, according to many, a germaphobe, is going to have had unprotected sex with a porn star. It makes sense if you want to believe absolute nonsense. Later on, Stormy Daniels testifies as follows. He said, "Don't worry, it's all scripted," talking about The Apprentice. Prosecutor, "Did you ask about Melania?" Daniels, "I did." He said, "Don't worry, we don't even sleep in the same room." He kept cutting me off. He'd ask a question, then not let me finish. I told him, "You're rude." Stormy Daniels, "I ended up spanking him. And after that, he acted much better. He said I should be in The Apprentice. I told him, even you don't have that much power." He said, "You remind me of my daughter, blonde and beautiful." To me, it made sense. None of this testimony makes any sense if you really stop to think about it. They're having a discussion. She says he's rude, and then she ends up spanking him. And then later on, she goes on to testify how she was taken aback when he was on a bed, allegedly thinking they were going to do the sexy thingy thing. Yeah, she spanks him out of the blue and then claims to be taken aback when they allegedly have sex later on. It doesn't make any sense. And then she goes on to testify about Melania. None of this is relevant except to make Trump look bad, to make their marriage look bad, so that the jury can say, we're going to give him what we think he deserves, even though he doesn't deserve it, because we have been told, we've been made to think that he's a really awful person. He doesn't even sleep in the same room as Melania. I reminded him of his daughter, and then I claimed that we went on to have sex. This is disgusting lawfare election interference, and now it's disgusting lawfare defamation. But they benefit from litigation privilege, so nobody can sue Stormy Daniels for defamation. Not that it would change anything. She already owes Trump $500,000 in legal fees. We're going to get to that later. But she is abusing of the bench and the lawfare to go out and say disgusting, nasty things about Donald Trump, even though they have nothing to do with the case at hand. Later on, Stormy Daniels says he stood up, not in a threatening manner. He said, "If you ever want to get out of that trailer park." Objection. Justice Marchand sustained. Move on. What next? Daniels, "I felt drugged." Nichols, objection. Justice Marchand, overruled. Then we have a sidebar at the defense table. Trump speaks with Beauvais, who again moves to far seat when Blanche returns from sidebar and whispers to Trump. Justice Marchand, the objection is sustained. It's funny how before the objection was overruled and now the objection is sustained, but only after the answer has already been given, the damage has been done. This is absolutely disgusting. I hope everybody understands that. You might think this is one screen, two films. This is one screen, one film, and it's a disgusting film. Justice Marchand, the objection is sustained. Prosecutor, you were not drugged, right? Stormy Daniels, there was a power imbalance. Well, my goodness, that de-escalated quickly. That went from I felt drugged to, yeah, there was a power imbalance. What the hell did you say I felt drugged for? As if we're not to believe that she was prepped to say these highly damning things to taint the jury. It doesn't make any sense, except for that it makes total sense. It's absolute rubbish. Wait until you get to the next part. Prosecutor, did you have sex with him on the bed? Stormy Daniels, missionary, objection. Justice Marchand, sustained. Daniels, I was staring at the ceiling, wishing I was somewhere else. Justice Marchand, sustained. Prosecutor, was he wearing a condom? Daniels, no. I thought we agreed earlier on in the day that there wouldn't be any unnecessary smarmy details of sex. Oh yeah, but he sustained the objections after the answer was already given in open court to the jury. Holy crab apples. I was sitting there staring at the ceiling, wishing I was somewhere else. Did he wear a condom? No, this is Jerry Springer level dirtiness, and this is outright lawfare defamation. The only problem, it's not actionable because of the rules that apply to what is said in open court. Then we get to the other absolutely irrelevant aspect of this trial, the Access Hollywood tape, and Stormy Daniels testifies as follows. Prosecutor, do you remember the Access Hollywood tape coming out? Stormy Daniels, yes, Gina told me about it. I wanted to get the story out because of the threat. Prosecutor, did you find that Donald Trump and Michael Cohen wanted to buy your story? Answer, yes. Stormy Daniels, it would be good. My husband wouldn't find out, but I'd have paperwork. I didn't care about the $130,000. The amount didn't matter to me. We no longer lived in California, which is very expensive. Prosecutor, were we presented an agreement? Answer, yes. So she hears about the Access Hollywood tape. She wants to get her story out. The price seems to be $130,000, but she's allegedly not interested in the money. I don't know how much someone has to be worth in order to be not interested in $130,000, but that's very few people on this earth. There is no chance in hell Stormy Daniels was not interested in the money, despite her testimony there. And later on, in her testimony in cross, well, it becomes very clear she was very interested in the money. Later on, prosecution, some of this will come out in cross, and I hope on redirect. She testified that she was not directly threatened and that she did not say no. I agree that there were things that would have been better left unsaid. The only problem, they've already been said, they've already been heard. Justice Marchand, I do think the witness was hard to control, but I do not believe at this point a mistrial is warranted. I was surprised that there were not more objections. At one point, the court sua sponte objected. Trump moved for a mistrial, which was obviously and predictably swiftly denied by Judge Marchand on the basis that there has been a lot of highly prejudicial and totally irrelevant testimony adduced by Stormy Daniels, and now they're going to get into whether or not they should give the jury specific instructions on relates to that alleged threat that Stormy Daniels allegedly got in a parking lot when someone approached her and said, "Do not discuss this Donald Trump story. But Trump's team has moved for mistrial and Judge Marchand has obviously denied the request. Then in cross-examination, some highlights. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, you wrote, when he is selected to go to jail. Did you just laugh? Stormy Daniels. Someone else wrote, select. It's funny. Nichols, it's not because you think this is all funny. Daniels, no. Nichols, you owe him $500,000 in legal fees. Stormy Daniels, I'm not sure of the dates. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, March 2022. You were ordered to pay attorney's fees for the appeal too, right? Daniels, yes. Nichols, more in 2023 because of your frivolous suit. Prosecutor, objection. Justice Marchand, sustained. The bottom line takeaway, the star witness of the prosecution owes Donald Trump over $500,000, has vowed not to pay the orange man, she actually called him a name, a single cent, has vowed to go to jail instead of paying him. It's not like she might have any vested interest in this case. It's not like she might have some sort of animus towards the defendant, some motivation to be an outright bald-faced liar on the stand. Yeah, but $130,000 doesn't mean anything to her. Maybe because she owes him over $500,000. After a sidebar, Justice Marchand accepted into evidence the tweet, I will go to jail before I pay a penny. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, that was you saying you didn't care about a federal order, right? Stormy Daniels, I won't pay for telling the truth. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, you wrote this. I don't owe him shit and I'll never give that orange turd a dime. Stormy Daniels, yes. Nichols, you make fun of how he looks too, right? Daniels, he did it first. He did it first. I called him names because he called me names because I made up a story about him having sex with me, which I denied on 5 separate occasions, formally and in writing, having denied it. Having asserted that I did not deny it because of an NDA, I denied it because it never happened. And now she's coming out on the stand, suggesting, implying that she was drugged, that she felt intimidated, threatened, that she was taken aback by his advances on her. And now she's saying, we had sex, he paid me off for it, and he should go to jail on a 34-count felony indictment for concealing the payment to Michael Cohen, which was payment to me for silencing me, catch and kill election interference. That's the case. It's absolute insanity. And then we get into more story not making any sense because Stormy Daniels is lying so much she simply cannot keep track of her own lies. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, you told Gloria Allred you did not have sex with President Trump, right? Stormy Daniels, no, I told her I did have sex with him. Nichols, let me show you. You say you left out sex. Daniels, later I told her. Nichols, not in the book. Stormy Daniels, I would not go with force, so I said no. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, you're just making this up now, aren't you? Daniels, I didn't trust her. None of this makes any sense. She did not tell Gloria Allred at the time that she had sex with Donald Trump, that she allegedly had sex with Donald Trump because she didn't trust her. She told her later, but she didn't tell her at the time. This story doesn't make sense. This prosecution doesn't make sense, except for the fact that it is outright election interference. I'll say it over and over again until I'm blue in the face. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, it taught you that if you want to make money off President Trump, you have to claim sex. Daniels, no, but it seems to be that way. Nichols, when you spoke with In Touch, you were trying to sell your story, right? Daniels, yes. But the money, the $130,000, was of no interest to her. And then what I think is the most important tweet, the most important highlight of the day that captures the essence of Stormy Daniels' dishonest testimony. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, in 2011, the story wasn't worth much, but then it was worth much more in 2016, right? Stormy Daniels, I set a free press conference. Nichols, but you never held it. You say you were threatened if you spoke, so you spoke. Daniels, new ball game. Trump's lawyer, Nichols, in this text, Gina said, I have Stormy Daniels, please read Dylan Howard. Stormy Daniels, denounced it previously. I don't want to comment if I don't understand what they are talking about. Nichols, quote, she had sex with him. She wants $100,000, end quote. It wasn't about the money. Stormy Daniels just wanted to tell her story. She just wanted her truth to be told. Except in 2011, the story wasn't worth much. In 2016, new ball game. It's worth a whole hell of a lot more. $100,000. She says she had sex with Donald Trump. And I was sitting there reading these tweets and I was saying to myself, if only I were there, I would have followed up with, well, I guess if you get paid to have sex for a living, what's the big deal about lying about having had sex in order to get paid? So that's where we're at as of today. Stormy Daniels is still under oath. She's still under cross-examination. She will take the stand again tomorrow, Thursday, as at the time of shooting this vlog. She'll be subject to a redirect afterwards. We'll see where this goes. But my goodness, it's an abject disaster. And anybody telling you otherwise is Rachel Maddow. So stay tuned. Follow Inner City Press on Twitter. He's doing amazing work. If you like what I do, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Viva Frei on Rumble, the Viva Frei on Twitter, vivabarneslaw.locals.com for the best above average community anywhere on the internet. More important than anything, get outside, exercise, eat healthy, talk to people in real life, and now you know your vlog. Peace out.